But anyway, thanks everyone for coming to the first ever Livepeer Community Summit. This is really exciting. We started the project 5 years ago. It was mostly, Eric and Yandin and I in a room trying to figure out whether it was possible to use this new technology platform called the blockchain to create incentives that could get developers to contribute to open source video software and get people to run that software and form a worldwide global video infrastructure network that could be a really powerful tool for the world where video is exploding and it was being used to connect us and educate us and entertain us and help us learn, right? And fast forwarding 5 years later and to see a whole group of people that build this software, run this network, come together for a day-long summit at a Ethereum developer ecosystem event, which was also kind of really tightly connected to the origin stories of Livepeer building within the Ethereum community on Ethereum technology as this kind of enabling new change in the world. It's very, very exciting. So I think we have a great day planned. There's a couple talks. I'm really excited for the panels that we have. A bunch of our orchestrators are here, going to run a panel. A bunch of our community members are going to talk about things they're building around Livepeer. Some other projects are going to give talks about kind of interesting, innovative things happening in blockchain ecosystems. And I want everyone to be participating and engaged and kind of make this what you want of it. So feel free to break out into that nice garden for a conversation. There's some food and drink in the room next door. We'll grab lunch together. So should be a good and exciting day. So I'm going to start with probably like a 10-15 minute talk that kind of reminds everyone of the big future vision of where we're going with Livepeer. It's called the Livepeer Vision Beyond Transcoding. I just kind of gave everyone a little bit of the origin story. We started in 2016 thinking about this, 2017 really committing and working on the project. Mission of building the world's open video infrastructure, video being the most powerful medium of communication that is the majority of how people spend their time and resources online. It's really important that there's scalable global infrastructures that can help enable developers building experiences around this. And the rise of Ethereum and blockchain technology gave us the opportunity to try and create an open version as opposed to just a closed proprietary version run by a big tech company. And we've been all on that journey for a while. But so if you look at kind of what the Livepeer network is today, where we're at, the main functionality that we provided in the early days was video transcoding, right? It's important. You need to transcode video if you're going to deliver it reliably all around the world. But it's just one piece, right? There's many other elements of the kind of video stack, including content delivery being a really important one, but all sorts of other elements that people don't always think about, like video ingest and origin services and the open software that speaks all the different video protocols and support for all sorts of, kind of peripheral services like monetization and storage and ads and these sorts of things. And so, video is really much bigger than just transcoding. And Livepeer's vision was really the open video solution to be much bigger than just transcoding. So, I think we've been doing a bunch of work on content delivery, one of the other big pieces here. Hopefully today we get a little sneak peek or an over-the-shoulder look at some of the research that's come out there with peer-to-peer content delivery acceleration. I think that'll be a big kind of upcoming capability introduced to the Livepeer software and network. But today I want to look even beyond that and talk about kind of what a fully decentralized and open video infrastructure looks like and how the Livepeer network and project and software can evolve to get there. So, the first question is kind of what does it look like? The second question is what do we do in order to get closer to that state than we are right now, right? So when I think about what it looks like, I really want to go kind of element by element and map it onto a potential way the Livepeer network and project can fit in. So first of all, the way the network works right now is that you have to stream video into a broadcast node, a Livepeer node. And that node is kind of a heavy process. It runs on a server. It's a little cumbersome to operate. I think if we're going to kind of achieve this vision, one of the first steps is we should think about how to decentralize and distribute the Livepeer broadcast node, or essentially kind of have Livepeer-aware clients and capture devices that can discover the Livepeer network and talk to it and stream directly into it, right? And so this is thinking about how can you actually have a mobile application that discovers orchestrators and streams video for transcoding directly to them. How can you do in-browser capture and streaming and not need to be streaming over RTMP to a server if that's even possible from a browser? We've had challenges doing that for years, right? Even professional video hardware like captures and capture devices and cameras and whatnot, can they be Livepeer aware? Can they talk to devices or to the network directly? How can you rate developer SDKs that let developers build things that talk to the network directly? And some of these might look like full Livepeer nodes that know how to talk to blockchains and send payments. Some of them might need to be like light clients that still talk to software that's run by the network, which kind of brings me to the next piece. We should think about how the Livepeer network can be used not just for orchestration and transcoding, but for actually a global video ingest network, right? This is one of the biggest benefits that decentralization brings to video. It's that you want to be streaming to a nearby source somewhere close to you in the world that has the capacity to ingest and capture your video. We already have a global network of orchestrators. How could we expose services that allow them to not just receive video from broadcast nodes and do transcoding, but to actually be the video ingest entry points for these kind of light clients that capture video and need to talk to the network directly. I think at Livepeer Inc., we've built Livepeer.com. This has built a global ingest network where we have ingest servers in Frankfurt and Prague and Singapore and Los Angeles and Chicago and other cities. But that can't be the only one on the network, right? You actually want a decentralized network that has thousands of these entry points around the world. Cool. Decentralized video compute network. I think this is the thing we already have and the thing that we're closest to expanding. This is a network of orchestrators and transcoders that transcode video. Excited to layer in some of these smart video capabilities like content detection, object detection. Compositing is really interesting. That's when you take a bunch of kind of different videos and composite them into one scene. It's popular in video conferencing for recording and streaming out webcasts and those sorts of things. We have this global network of GPUs, can be really powerful. So let's expand the capabilities there, right? And then kind of moving beyond compute to serving video, you can talk about things like an origin network. So these are the servers that are designed to deliver video to end users if you're not doing it at tremendous scale, and you can scale to hundreds or thousands of users from origin servers. Origin servers also serve as kind of the entry point for CDNs and would avoid our orchestrators, transcoders, or broadcast nodes from getting overloaded by DDoS attacks or high request volumes and these sorts of things. And so, again, a global network that serves video out is interesting, but I think it's really interesting when you combine it with kind of true peer-to-peer content delivery. So this is when a bunch of people are watching a single video stream, they can be sharing some of their bandwidth to upload that video to other people watching the stream. And this is where we've done a lot of research and have some exciting kind of early results and proof of concepts to show. And something that our network can do to play a role here is to seed some of this content into these peer-to-peer networks on initial requests. But then to orchestrate the peers that are watching the video to let them know about which ones are kind of high-performing, delivering content, which one are bad peers and shouldn't be connected to. And that's really the service that a network can provide to these peer-to-peer CDNs. So, this actually allows you to scale to tens of thousands of users, potentially without a CDN or a minimal reliance on a CDN just for those users that kind of can't connect in a peer-to-peer fashion. That's really powerful. Even when you're scaling to millions of users for very popular streams, you can take 80, 90% of the traffic off of a CDN, move it into a peer-to-peer network. And so again, getting towards decentralization, getting towards cost reduction, this would be a huge impact for the Livepeer ecosystem to deliver to the industry. So those are some of the technical capabilities. I think the other angle to look at things is kind of what's happening in software development, what's happening in the way applications are being built. This Web3 movement that we're a part of is really powerful, and it kind of brings a different way of doing things, and I think developers are building different types of applications in different ways. And here's just a few of the examples of the way that kind of Web3 affects video, and Livepeer is super well positioned to be like the Web3 native video infrastructure if we kind of move quickly and embrace the support for these new models. So, in Web 2, you do video access control with technologies like DRM, these closed proprietary solutions. In Web 3, you use token gating and kind of wallet-based access to streams. Monetization instead of ads. Developers have the ability to use things like NFTs and crowdfunding and token incentives. Ownership, instead of enforcing ownership through copyrights, you can enforce ownership through kind of on-chain provenance and identity solutions. And there's different storage and compute platforms you can plug into as well. Lastly, I would say Livepeer should encompass additional capabilities beyond just our kind of broadcast video stack. Like the world's open video infrastructure also should have support for real-time communication, video chat, low latency video conferencing. Interactive video is going to be enormous in the coming years, especially as you can push latencies down. Developers are going to be creating streaming experiences where the audience can actually interact with the content and shape the experience. And Livepeer is a global network of GPUs that can do all the real-time processing to enable this, so we should be well suited to take this on. I don't even know if I should mention this, but if we accomplish all of the above Livepeer network, you could think about moving even beyond video into kind of generic compute. But we'll tackle that as we get there. Cool, so returning to how do we make progress towards this? How do we get closer to this comprehensive video vision than we are right now? I think the first recognition is the people in this room can't go it alone. It's too much to build. There's too many elements of the stack. It's a long vision with a lot of hard work required, right? But we actually have like a superpower we can rely on to get closer here, and that's kind of embracing Web3 and what that enables in ways that kind of a traditional company never could. So first of all, Web3 gives you the superpower of distributed ownership. So we have hundreds of thousands of people around the world who actually are kind of owners in the Livepeer network and Livepeer project through the token. We have 3,800 who are staking on the network and delegating hundreds of node operators and transcode operators who all have an incentive to see this vision through. And that's really powerful, right? Like most traditional video companies don't have that. Now let's put on top of that, we can add incentives to the network. So people who contribute these additional capabilities, how can they become kind of bigger owners? How can they have bigger exposure to the upside there? And we can think about using things like governance to add more incentives for adding capabilities. Open source and community plus culture are kind of like understated here, but again, really powerful. In Web3, it's really like a rising tide lifts all boats mentality, and it's a let's make Web3 succeed mentality. And you can really harness that to encourage people who love open source to want to contribute new additional solutions to a network, as opposed to a very like closed proprietary culture that you see in the traditional world. So we need to harness this, right? I think there's kind of two steps that we should take. I think we should think about kind of modularizing and abstracting the Livepeer protocol's capabilities to more than just transcoding, and then we should work on the incentives for how people contribute to these capabilities. I'll wrap up in a minute or two, but just kind of technically how I think we can abstract the capabilities. I don't think it's that difficult. I think right now, all the nodes on the Livepeer network are orchestrators, and the service they kind of don't even have to advertise is transcoding. That's the job that they do. What they do is they advertise their price to broadcasters that want to hire them. I think in the future, they can kind of advertise three things. They can advertise all the capabilities they support, the prices that they're charging for them, and a verification function for each capability, which is to say, hey, if I do this type of job for you, how can you trust that I did it correctly? What's the adjudication? If I'm not, what's the penalties if I don't do it correctly? An important piece there. And so if you just open up the Livepeer marketplace to let people advertise any capability beyond just transcoding, you get a more kind of powerful network. You get clients that can discover the capabilities that different node operators offer. They can negotiate price. The client implementations can make use of these capabilities, so they can say, oh, I want to get stun turn services for a WebRTC video conference, and I want compositing so that I can stream it out. And they can hire a node to do that. Or they can hire a node to say, will you seed my content into this peer-to-peer content delivery network so that I don't need to use a CDN? And a node operator can charge for that service and prove they did it correctly. And maybe some of these capabilities you can't prove on chain, and you need a reputation system, and you're trusting someone based on their reputation. Some of them maybe you can prove cryptographically perfectly, and you can get assurances and hire any node without any filter. But the key is you can open this up to the marketplace. You can let the implementations, the convention, the market, the community decide. So I think that's a really powerful step. Incentives, a little trickier. I'd love to talk about some of those today in the breakout sessions. We have some already. We have inflation funding where anyone who adds one of these capabilities can run a node, they can market themselves, they can attract stake, they can build ownership in Livepeer. We have grants, which is a powerful mechanism for helping people bootstrap, and I think we could be aggressive with grants for big contributions. And then largely, I think we can think about using governance to add bigger incentives or to route some percentage of the new Livepeer tokens towards development groups that are adding big capabilities to Livepeer to move us closer to the vision. That would, of course, require community buy-in and be a big change, but certainly not off the table. It's clear to me, it's been clear over the years that stakeholders who kind of are part of the Livepeer community, who hold the Livepeer token, are more likely to contribute positively to it than people who don't. And so we should really kind of think deeply about the incentives and put the right ones in place to get this contribution. Cool, so wrapping it up, putting the pieces together, what does the world look like when Livepeer accomplishes this vision of the world's full open video infrastructure? I think a developer can build a video application without any reliance on running their own infrastructure or piecing together a lot of disparate services. I think they get kind of the full range of video capabilities. They get the perception of infinite scale. They get the most optimal price possible due to the open marketplace dynamics. They can rely on this network just as much as they could or more than any centralized service without a source of failure. I think when they combine this capability with sort of the new Web3 monetization techniques that we're seeing and community techniques that we're seeing, you're going to see tremendous impact to the creator economy, which is really the kind of bottom-up economy that powers billions of people around the world, participating in the economy, monetizing their time, sharing their creations with the world in ways that just maybe weren't as easy or possible or affordable or accessible as they were before. And I hope that can have a positive impact on the world and kind of motivates a lot of what we're working on. So I'll leave it at that for now. I think there's a lot of great content today for everyone. Looking forward to it. Thanks for coming out.